The wind howled across the frozen land like a living thing. Snow moved in long white waves, covering everything in silence. This place was far from any city, no trees, no animals. Only ice, cold, and endless white. A small research team walked slowly across the frozen ground. Their heavy boots pressed into the snow with each step. Their breath turned into fog in the air. "Nothing here," one of them said. "Just ice and more ice." But Ethan did not answer. He stopped walking. Something felt wrong. He looked down at the ground beneath his feet. The snow here looked different, harder, smoother, almost like glass. "Wait," Ethan said quietly. The others turned back. "What now?" one of them asked, a little annoyed. Ethan knelt down and placed his glove on the ice. For a moment, nothing happened. Then his eyes widened. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. "Hear what?" The team leader asked. Ethan pressed his ear closer to the ice. There it was again, a faint sound, soft, slow, but steady. A heartbeat. Ethan pulled back quickly, his face pale. "There's something under the ice," he said. The others laughed. "A rock?" One joked. "Or your imagination," another said. But Ethan shook his head. "No, it's alive," the team leader sighed. "We don't have time for this. We came to scan the area, not dig holes." But Ethan was already brushing away snow with his hands. "I'm telling you, something is down there." The leader watched him for a few seconds, then gave a tired look. "Fine. 5 minutes. Then we leave." Ethan nodded and worked faster. Soon, one of the others joined him, then another. They used tools to break the top layer of ice. It was thick and hard, but slowly. It began to crack. A sharp sound echoed. Crack. Everyone froze. The ice split open. Just a little. Something was inside. They all leaned closer. At first, it looked like a shape. Small, curled. Then the light shifted, and they saw her. A small figure, trapped inside the ice. A child, but not human. Her skin had a faint blue glow. Her hair floated around her head like it was underwater. Her eyes were closed, and her body looked still, too still. "No way," one of them whispered. It's an alien," another said, his voice shaking. Ethan didn't speak. He couldn't. He stared at her face. She looked peaceful, but also alone. "Is she dead?" someone asked. Ethan quickly leaned closer again. He pressed his ear to the cracked ice. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then thump. Slowed. Weak. But there. His heart started racing. "She's alive," Ethan said, almost breathless. The others stepped back in shock. "That's impossible," the leader said. "She's been here for who knows how long." Ethan didn't listen. He placed his hand gently on the ice above her. "She's still fighting," he whispered. At that moment, her fingers moved. Everyone jumped back. "Did you see that?" one of them shouted. Ethan stayed where he was, his hand still on the ice. Then slowly, very slowly, the alien girl's eyes opened. They were not normal. They glowed softly, like frozen stars. For 1 second, she looked straight at Ethan. Not scared, not angry, just searching, like she was trying to understand him. Ethan felt something strange in his chest, like she could see him. Not just his face, but everything inside him. Then her eyes closed again. The glow faded, and she became still. The wind outside grew louder. No one spoke. Finally, the team leader took a step back. His face had changed. "This is bigger than us," he said. "We report this now." The others nodded quickly, but Ethan didn't move. He was still staring at the girl in the ice, his hand still resting where her heart was. He could still feel it, that slow, weak, but steady beat. He whispered, so only he could hear it. "You're not dead." He took a deep breath. "You're waiting." Far above them, dark clouds gathered. And deep under the ice, something had just awakened. The cold wind did not stop, but something had changed. The place no longer felt empty. Ethan stood beside the cracked ice, staring at the frozen alien girl. The others had already stepped away, speaking into their radios with nervous voices. There. Words were fast, unclear, filled with fear and excitement. We found something. Not human. Repeat, not human. Ethan barely listened. His focus stayed on her. That moment when her eyes opened, it felt real. Not like a dream. Not like something his mind created. She had looked at him, not through him, at him. Ethan, the team leader called. Move back. Now Ethan slowly stood up, but his eyes never left the ice. We can't leave her like this. We're not leaving her, the leader replied. We're calling this in. Within an hour, the sky was no longer empty. A large black aircraft appeared above them, breaking through the clouds. Its loud sound echoed across the frozen land. Snow flew in every direction as it landed. Men in dark uniforms stepped out. Their faces were hidden behind masks. They moved fast, organized, like they had done this many times before. One of them walked toward the team. You found it? He asked, his voice cold and direct. The team leader nodded and pointed. Under the ice. It's alive. The man didn't look surprised. He simply turned and gave a signal. More soldiers moved in. They brought heavy machines and tools. Without asking any questions, they started cutting into the ice. Faster and cleaner than the research team ever could. Ethan stepped forward. Be careful. She's alive. No one answered him. The machines grew louder. The ice broke apart piece by piece, until the frozen chamber holding the girl was fully visible. It was like a clear crystal, perfectly shaped around her body. Two soldiers carefully lifted it. Even inside the ice, she looked small, fragile, like she could break at any moment. Ethan felt something tight in his chest. Where are you taking her? He asked. This time, one of the masked men looked at him. That is not your concern. Ethan frowned. She's not a thing. She's a child. The man paused for a second. Then he said, she is a specimen. That word felt wrong. Ethan clenched his fists but said nothing more. He watched as they carried her toward the aircraft. For a moment, the wind slowed. Everything felt quiet again. And then thump. Ethan turned quickly. He didn't hear it with his ears. He felt it, like a small push. Inside his chest. The heartbeat. He stepped closer to the frozen chamber. She's still there. He whispered. As if she heard him. Her fingers moved again, very slightly. One of the soldiers noticed. Movement detected, he said. Stabilize it, another ordered. They connected small devices to the ice. Soft lights turned on, scanning. Her body. Numbers appeared on a screen. Heart rate increasing. Energy levels unknown. Subject reacting. Ethan stepped even closer. Stop calling her that, he said quietly. No one responded. The aircraft door opened. Cold air rushed inside as they carried her up. Ethan made a choice. Without asking, without thinking too much, he followed them. Hey, you're not allowed, one soldier started. But the team leader spoke quickly. He found it. Let him go. There was a short silence. Then the masked man nodded once. Fine. But he follows orders. Ethan didn't care about orders. He just wanted to stay near her. Inside the aircraft, everything was metal and noise. Machines lined the walls. Bright lights made everything look cold and sharp. They placed the frozen girl in the center. More machines connected to her. Beeping sounds filled the air. Ethan stood a few steps away, watching. Vitals stabilizing, someone said. Good. The masked leader replied. Prepare for transport to the lab. Ethan felt uneasy. Something about all of this felt wrong. Too fast, too controlled. Like they already knew what she was. He took one small step closer. No one stopped him this time. Raised his hand. Slowly, carefully, and placed it on the cold surface of the ice. For a second, nothing happened. Then the machines beeped louder. Heart rate rising again. Energy spike detected. Ethan froze. The glow inside the ice became stronger. Soft blue light spread around her body. Her face moved slightly, and then her eyes opened again. This time, longer, brighter. She looked straight at Ethan. The noise of the aircraft faded in his mind. Everything slowed down. It was just him. And her eyes were not empty. They were full of something deep. Pain, fear, and something else. Hope. Ethan swallowed hard. "I'm here," he said softly. No one else heard him. But she did. Her fingers pressed weakly against the inside of the ice, right where his hand was for a moment. They were connected. Then the light suddenly disappeared. Her eyes closed again. The machines returned to normal. Stabilized, someone said. But Ethan knew the truth. She was not just reacting, she was responding. And whatever was happening, it had only just begun. The aircraft landed in complete silence. No announcements. No delays. Everything moved fast and controlled. Ethan stepped out behind the soldiers, his eyes still fixed on the frozen chamber. The alien girl was taken down carefully, surrounded by machines and guards. Bright white lights lit up the landing area, but the place felt cold in a different way now. Not like ice. Like control. Like nothing here was free. "Move," one of the soldiers said, guiding Ethan forward. He didn't argue. He followed. They entered a large underground facility. Metal walls, clean floors, no windows. Every step echoed. Every sound felt watched. The frozen chamber was placed inside a glass room in the center of a lab. Scientists quickly surrounded it. Screens turned on. Data started flowing. Ethan stayed near the back, watching everything. Core temperature holding. Heart rate stable but weak. Unknown energy still present. They spoke about her like she wasn't there, like she couldn't hear. Ethan clenched his jaw. "She's awake sometimes," he said. "She sees things." A woman in a lab coat looked at him. "That's impossible. She is in a suspended state." "She looked at me," Ethan replied. "Twice." The woman didn't answer. She turned back to her screen. Ethan felt ignored again. But this time, he didn't step back. Hours passed. Tests continued. Machines scanned her body again and again. Lights moved across the ice. Small robotic arms touched the surface, measuring, analyzing. Still, she did not move, not like before. Ethan sat on a metal chair, tired but unable to leave. Something pulled him to stay. Late into the night, the lab grew quieter. Fewer people, lower voices. Lever told him to stay. Late into the night, the lab grew quieter. Fewer people, lower voices, dimmer lights. Finally, most of the scientists left. Only a few guards remained. Ethan stood up slowly. No. One stopped him. He walked closer to the glass room. Step by step, his reflection appeared in the glass, but behind it, she was still there. Frozen. Silent. Alone. Ethan placed his hand against the glass. "I know you can hear me," he said softly. Nothing happened. He waited. Still nothing. He looked down for a moment, feeling foolish. Maybe they were right. Maybe it was all just coincidence. But then a soft sound. Beep. 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 The machine beside her started changing. Ethan looked up quickly. Her heart rate was rising again. "Hey," he whispered. "I'm here." The blue glow slowly returned. Faint at first. Then stronger. The ice around her began to shine softly, like it was alive. Ethan moved closer. "Can you hear me?" he asked. Inside the chamber, her fingers twitched. Very small, but real. Ethan's breath caught. "That's it. You're okay." The glow spread to her chest. Her heartbeat became faster. The machine reacted louder. Now warning lights flashed. A guard looked over. "What's happening?" Ethan didn't move. He couldn't. He felt something strange again. Not a sound this time. feeling like a whisper inside his mind. Cold, but not painful, soft, but clear. Images flashed in his head. Dark sky, falling stars. Fire. Screams. Back, holding his head. What is this? The feeling stopped. Suddenly, he looked at her again. Her eyes slowly opened. Wider this time. Brighter. The glow inside them was stronger than before. She was not just looking, she was reaching. Ethan stepped closer again. Slowly. It's okay, he said, trying to stay calm. I'm not going to hurt you. Her eyes stayed locked on him. The machines around her started going crazy now. Energy spike detected. Call the team back. But Ethan didn't care. He moved right up to the glass. His hand touched it again. This time, the ice cracked slightly. Thin line appeared where his hand rested. Everyone froze. That's not possible. The guard whispered. Inside the chamber, the alien girl lifted her hand. Slow. Weak. But controlled. She placed it against the ice from the inside. Right against Ethan's hand. The crack grew a little more. A soft pulse of light moved between them. Ethan felt it clearly now, not just a feeling, a connection. He saw another flash, this time clearer. A broken world. Cold. Empty. No life. Then loneliness. Deep. Endless loneliness. Ethan's eyes filled with shock. That's your world, he whispered. Her lips moved slightly. Very slowly, like she was learning how. The sound was weak, almost gone. But it was there, warm. Ethan's heart stopped. For a second, she spoke. The guard stepped back. She just made a sound. More alarms went off. Footsteps rushed toward the lab. But Ethan stayed still. He looked at her. His voice soft. You're not alone, he said. Her glowing eyes softened. The light around her flickered. Then slowly, she closed her eyes again. The glow faded. The crack in the ice stopped growing. The machines returned to normal. Silence filled the room once more. But everything had changed. Ethan lowered his hand slowly. His heart was still racing. She's not a specimen, he said quietly. She's trying to reach us. Behind him, the lab doors opened fast. Scientists rushed back and questions filled the air. But Ethan only looked at her. Because now he knew one thing for sure. She was waking up. She chose him first. The lab was no longer calm. Red warning lights flashed across the walls. Alarms echoed through the halls. Scientists rushed in and out, shouting orders, checking screens, trying to understand what just happened. Ethan stood near the glass chamber. His heart still racing. She spoke. He said quietly. But no one answered him. They were too busy. She reacted to external contact. Energy surge recorded. Unknown signal detected. Their voices were fast, cold, and focused. Not one of them said she was alive. Not one of them said she was afraid. To them, she was still just a subject. The woman in the lab coat from before stepped forward. Her eyes were sharp now, serious. What did you do? She asked Ethan. I didn't do anything, he replied. I just talked to her. That's not possible, she said. There must be a trigger. Something in your voice, your movement, something. Ethan shook his head. She's not reacting to sound. She's reacting to me. The woman didn't like that answer. No, she said firmly. We will test that. Ethan felt a bad feeling in his chest. What kind of test? He asked. She turned away from him. Prepare phase 2. The words felt heavy. Cold. Wrong. 2 guards stepped closer to Ethan. You need to step back, one of them said. Ethan looked at the chamber again. The alien girl was still. Her eyes closed, her glow gone. But he knew she wasn't gone. She's tired, he said. She just woke up. You can't push her like this. The guard didn't respond. Ethan was moved back. Machines rolled closer to the glass chamber. Bigger ones this time, sharper, more powerful. A long metal arm extended slowly toward the ice. Ethan's fists tightened. What are you doing? He asked again. testing her limits. The woman replied. The metal arm touched the surface of the ice. A small pulse of energy was sent inside. The machines beeped. Response minimal. Increase level. The energy grew stronger. Inside the chamber, the alien girl's body twitched. Ethan stepped forward. Stop! No one listened. Another pulse. Stronger this time. Her body shook slightly. The machines beeped louder. Energy reacting. Good, the woman said. Push further. Ethan's voice rose. You're hurting her. But the test continued. The next pulse hit harder. Crack. A thin line appeared in the ice. Not from warmth this time. From stress. Inside, the girl's face changed. Her calm expression broke. Pain. Clear and real. Her fingers curled tightly. Her body tried to move, but couldn't. Ethan's chest tightened. Enough! He shouted. The guards moved in front of him. You need to stay back. Ethan pushed one of them aside. She's not your experiment. Hold him, the woman ordered. The guards grabbed Ethan's arms. He struggled, trying to break free. Look at her. He shouted. She's in pain. For a moment, everything paused. The next energy pulse built up in the machine. Brighter. Stronger. Dangerous. Then dash. The lights flickered. The machine's glitch. HED. And suddenly, everything went dark. Silence. Complete. Silence. The guards froze. The scientists stopped moving. Only one sound remained. Thump. Slow. Heavy. Stronger than before. Ethan looked toward the chamber. A soft blue glow appeared inside. It grew quickly, filling the ice, spreading outward. The glass walls began to shake. What is happening? Someone whispered. Then, her eyes opened. Bright. Powerful. Not weak anymore. The glow burst outward from her body. A wave of cold energy spread through the room. Frost covered the walls. Machines froze in place. Screens went black. One by one, the people in the lab stopped moving, frozen where they stood, like statues of ice. Ethan looked around in shock. Everyone, except him. He was still able to move, still able to breathe. He turned back to her. She was looking at him again. But this time, her eyes were different, still glowing, but filled with fear. Confusion. And pain. The ice around her cracked more. Lines spread across it like a web. Her hand lifted slowly, reaching out. Not attacking. Not destroying. Reaching. Ethan stepped forward. Carefully, the frozen floor crunched under his feet. I'm here, he said softly. The glow around her pulsed. Again, but it didn't touch him. It moved around him, like it was avoiding him. Ethan got closer to glass. Very close now. Her hand pressed against the inside again. The crack grew deeper. Ethan raised his hand slowly, placed it against the glass, right where her hand was. The energy calmed slightly. The shaking slowed. Her breathing became more stable. You're okay, he whispered. You're safe. Her glowing eyes softened. The cold in the room stopped spreading. The ice stopped breaking. Everything became still again. For a moment, it was quiet. Just the two of them, connected again. Then slowly, her eyes closed. The glow faded. The energy disappeared. The ice stopped cracking, and the lab remained frozen. Ethan lowered his hand slowly. He looked around at the frozen people, the silent machines. His voice was barely a whisper. They pushed her too far. He looked back at her. She's not dangerous. He paused. She's scared. And deep inside the broken, frozen lab, something powerful had just awakened. Something they could no longer control. The lab stayed frozen for a long time. No one moved. No sound. Only cold air and silence. Ethan stood in the center of it all, breathing slowly, trying to understand what had just happened. The people around him were like statues covered in thin layers of ice. Their faces showed shock, fear, confusion. But she had not hurt them. She had only stopped them. Ethan turned back to the glass chamber. The alien girl was still inside, but the ice around her was weaker now. Cracks had spread across it like broken glass. The blue glow was gone again, but something felt different. She was not as still as before. She was closer to waking up. Ethan stepped forward carefully. The frozen floor made soft cracking sounds under his boots. "I know you can hear me," he said gently. No answer, but he didn't expect one. He reached out and placed his hand on the glass again. For a moment, nothing. Then a soft pulse, not strong like before. Small. Like a quiet reply. Ethan smiled slightly. "Good, you're still there." "Not strong like before. Small. Like a quiet reply." Ethan smiled slightly. "Good, you're still there." He looked around the lab again. Everything was frozen, but it wouldn't stay that way forever. The systems would restart. The soldiers would wake, and when they did, they would not be calm. "They're going to come back," Ethan said quietly. "And they won't stop this time." He looked back at her. "We have to get you out of here." The words felt strange. A few hours ago, he didn't even know she existed. Now, he was ready to risk everything. Ethan searched the room quickly. Most machines were frozen, but a few small panels still had weak power. Emergency lights flickered on and off. He found a control console near the chamber. The screen was cracked, but still working. "Come on," he muttered, pressing buttons. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. Then he remembered something. Earlier when he touched the glass, she reacted. He looked at her again. Then slowly, he placed his hand on the chamber. "Help me," he whispered. For a second, nothing happened. Then a faint blue light returned. Very soft, but enough. The console suddenly powered up. Ethan's eyes widened. "That's it. Keep going." He moved his other hand to the controls. Lines of unknown symbols appeared on the fire screen. Not human language, not anything he understood. But somehow, he felt like he could. Images flashed again in his mind. Doors. Locks. Opening. Ethan pressed one of the symbols. The machine beeped. A low sound came from the chamber. Crack. A piece of ice broke away. Ethan stepped back slightly. "It's working." Another press. Another crack. The ice began to slowly break apart, piece by piece. Inside, the alien girl's body moved slightly. Her breathing became visible now. Slow, but real. Ethan's heart beat faster. "You're almost free," he said. Then, loud sound echoed through the lab. Click. The frozen doors behind him unlocked. Ethan froze. No. The ice on the walls began to melt slightly. The frozen soldiers started to move. One finger. Then another. The effect was ending. "They're waking up," Ethan whispered. He turned back quickly and pressed more symbols. Come on. Crack. The chamber split open more. Cold air rushed out. Her arms slipped free from the ice. It looked weak, fragile, but alive. Behind him, a soldier gasped for air. Another dropped to the floor, shaking. "They're up," Ethan said. "We don't have time." He pressed the final symbol. With a loud sound, the chamber broke, open completely. Ice shattered across the floor. The alien girl fell forward. Ethan rushed and caught her before she hit the ground. She was light, too light. Her skin was cold, but not like ice anymore, like someone who had just come back from a long sleep. Her eyes slowly opened, not glowing this time, just soft. Confused. Scared. She looked at Ethan closely, trying to understand. Ethan held her carefully. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe now." Behind them, voices shouted, "She's loose. Secure the subject." Weapons were raised. Ethan turned quickly, holding her close. "No!" he shouted. "Stay back!" The alien girl's body shook slightly. Her hand grabbed Ethan's jacket. Tight. Like she didn't want to let go. Ethan looked down at her. "It's all right," he said softly. "I've got you." The soldiers moved closer, step by step, weapons ready. Put her down. One of them ordered. Ethan didn't move. He stood his ground. Then, the girl looked at the soldiers. Her eyes changed. A faint blue glow returned. Not wild. Not out of control. Focused. The air around them grew cold again. Frost formed on the floor. The soldiers hesitated. What is she doing? Ethan whispered quickly. Don't hurt them. We just need to leave. She looked back at him. For a moment. It felt like she understood. The cold energy spread out, but only in front of them, blocking the soldiers. Not freezing them this time, just stopping them, creating a path. Ethan took a slow step back, then another. No sudden moves. A soldier warned. But they didn't shoot. They couldn't move forward. The cold wall held them back. Ethan turned and ran. Holding her tightly. Alarms screamed again. Red lights flashed. Doors started to close. Stop them. Don't let them escape. Ethan ran faster. The alien girl held onto him, her head resting against his chest, weak, but awake. Behind them, the cold barrier shattered. The soldiers were coming. Ethan looked ahead. A long hallway. One chance. He tightened his grip. We're getting out, he said. And together, they ran into the unknown. The hallway felt endless. Red lights flashed above. Alarms echoed through every corner of the facility. Heavy doors slammed shut behind Ethan as he ran, holding the alien girl tightly in his arms. His breathing grew heavy. His legs started to burn, but he didn't stop. Almost. We're almost out, he said, though he wasn't sure if it was true. The alien girl stayed close to him, her small hands gripping his jacket. Her body was still weak, but she was awake now. Her head rested against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Fast, strong, alive. She looked up at him slowly. Her eyes were not glowing now. Just soft, confused, but watching. Safe. She whispered. The word was broken. Quiet, but clear. Ethan looked down, surprised. You're learning fast, he said gently. Yes, safe. For a moment, something like calm passed between them, but it didn't last. Footsteps echoed behind them. Stop. They're heading to Sector C. Ethan turned a corner quickly. Ahead, a large metal door blocked the path. It was half closed. No. He muttered. He ran faster. The gap was small. Too small for a normal person to pass easily, but he had no choice. Ethan took a deep breath and slid through the opening, holding her close. The metal scraped against his back as he pushed through. They made it. Barely. The door slammed shut behind them. The soldiers reached it seconds later. Override the lock. Now, Ethan didn't wait. He kept moving. The air here felt different, colder, but natural. Not like the lab. He moved down a narrow passage, then up a short set of stairs. At the end, a door, old, rusty, half open. Ethan pushed it with his shoulder and stepped outside. The cold night air hit them both, but this time, it felt free. Snow fell slowly from the sky. The wind moved softly across the empty land. They were back outside. Far from the lab. Far from the machines. Ethan walked a few steps forward, then stopped. He was exhausted. Slowly, carefully, he lowered himself to the ground, still holding her. It's okay. We made it, he said quietly. The alien girl looked around. The open sky. The falling snow. The quiet. Her eyes widened slightly. Big, she whispered. Ethan gave a small smile. Yeah, it's big. She looked back at him. Studying his face, trying to understand. Why? Help? She asked slowly. The question was simple, but deep. Ethan didn't answer right away. He looked out at the empty frozen land, then back at her. Because you needed help, he said. She blinked. As if the answer was new to her. As if no one had ever said something like that before. A soft wind passed between them. She moved a little closer, still unsure, but less afraid. Ethan noticed her shaking. "You're cold," he said. He removed his outer jacket and wrapped it around her small body. She looked at it, then at him. "Warm," she said again. Ethan nodded. "Yes, warm." For a moment, everything felt still. Peaceful. But then a distant sound. Engines. Ethan looked up quickly. Lights moved across the sky. "They found us." The alien girl turned her head toward the sound. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Not fear this time. Awareness. "They come," she said. Ethan stood up slowly, helping her stand with him. "Yeah, they're coming." He looked around. There was nowhere to hide. No buildings. No cover. Just open snow. "This isn't good," he whispered. The lights in the sky grew closer. Searchlights scanned the ground. "They won't stop," Ethan said. "Not now." The alien girl looked at him again. Her expression changed, more focused, more clear. She stepped forward slightly. Then raised her small hand. The air around her shifted, cold, but controlled. Snow began to move in slow circles around her. Ethan watched carefully. "Hey, don't push yourself," he said. She shook her head slightly. "No, run," she said. Ethan frowned. "I'm not leaving you." She looked at him. Something stronger in her eyes now. Not just fear, not just confusion. Trust. "You stay?" she asked again, her voice soft. Ethan stepped closer. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. For a second, she just looked at him. Then slowly, she reached out and took his hand. Her grip was weak, but real. The wind around them grew stronger. Snow lifted into the air, forming a moving wall. The searchlight struggled to see through it. Ethan felt the cold, but it didn't hurt him. It moved around him, protecting him. He looked at her. "You're doing this?" She nodded slightly. "Together," she said. Ethan tightened his grip on her hand. "Together." The storm grew stronger. The lights in the sky faded behind the snow. The sound of engines became distant. For now, they were hidden. Safe. But not for long. Ethan looked down at her. "You don't have anyone, do you?" he asked softly. She looked away for a moment. Her voice came out even quieter than before. "No." Ethan felt that word deeply. He nodded. He nodded slowly. "All right," he said. He looked back at her. His voice calm. Firm. "You do now." She looked up at him. Her eyes softened. And for the first time, she didn't look lost. Not anymore. The storm did not last forever. Slowly, the wind began to calm. The snow settled back onto the ground. The sky cleared just enough for the cold stars to appear again. Ethan and the alien girl stood close together in the quiet. For a moment, it felt like they had escaped. But Ethan knew better. "They will come back," he said softly. The girl looked at him, her hand still holding his. Yes, she understood now. Not everything, but enough. Ethan looked around the empty land. No shelter, no food, no place to hide for long. "We can't stay here," he said. "We need to move." She nodded slightly. They started walking across the frozen ground, step by step. The night was long, and the cold never left, but the girl stayed close to Ethan. The jacket he gave her dragged slightly in the snow, but she didn't let go of it. Or him. After some time, her steps became slower. Her breathing heavier. Ethan noticed. "You're tired," he said. "Little," she replied. Ethan stopped and knelt in front of her. "Come on." She looked confused. He smiled a little. "I'll carry you." She hesitated for a second, then slowly moved closer. Ethan lifted her onto his back, holding her carefully. She was still light, too light, but now she felt warmer. As they moved again, her head rested gently against his shoulder. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then quietly, "Home?" she asked. Ethan looked ahead into the dark. "I don't know," he answered honestly, "but we'll find one." She didn't reply, but her grip on him tightened slightly. Time passed. Then a Distant sound broke the silence. Loud, sharp, engines. Ethan stopped. No. Already? Bright lights appeared in the sky again. Stronger this time. More than before. They found us, he said. The girl slowly lifted her head. Her eyes changed again. Not fear, not confusion, something stronger. No, run, she said. Ethan frowned. What? She slid down from his back and stood on her own. Small, weak, but steady. No, run, she repeated. Ethan shook his head. We can't fight them. She looked at him. Calm, sure. Then she stepped forward. The ground beneath her feet began to freeze deeper. Frost spread out in circles. The air around her became colder, sharper. Ethan felt it. Different this time. Not wild. Not out of control. Focused. The aircraft above them lowered slightly. Soldiers prepared to land. She's there. Take the shot if needed. Ethan stepped in front of her quickly. No, don't shoot. But she gently pulled his arm. No hurt, she said. Ethan looked at her, unsure. You're sure? She nodded. Then she stepped past him, facing the lights, facing the soldiers. Her small figure stood alone in the snow. But she didn't look weak anymore. The first soldiers landed, weapons raised. Stand down. One of them shouted, Subject, do not move. She didn't answer. She only raised her hand slowly. The air shifted again. The cold grew stronger. Snow lifted into the air, circling around her like a shield. The soldiers hesitated. What is she doing? Ethan watched closely, ready to move if something went wrong. The girl closed her eyes. The storm around her grew brighter, but it didn't spread wildly. It stayed controlled. Tight. Focused. Then she lowered her hand. The snow dropped. The cold faded. Silence returned. The soldiers looked confused. Nothing attacked them. Nothing froze them. She simply stood there. Calm. Peaceful. Ethan stepped forward slowly. What are you doing? He whispered. She looked back at him. Her eyes were soft again. No fear, she said. Ethan understood. She wasn't fighting them. She was showing them that she was not their enemy. The soldiers lowered their weapons slightly. Uncertain. Watching. Ethan took another step forward. She's not dangerous, he said loudly. She just wants to live. No one moved. No one spoke. Then one soldier slowly lowered his weapon completely. Another followed, but not all. Some still aimed, still unsure, still afraid. Ethan stepped closer to her. He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. It's okay, he said. She looked up at him. For a moment, everything felt still again. Then very slowly, she reached out and held his hand. Her grip was stronger now, not weak anymore, not afraid. She looked at him. Her voice soft, but clear. Stay, stay. Ethan didn't hesitate. I'm here, he said. I'm not leaving. She looked at him for one long second. Then she spoke a word she had never said before, a word she didn't fully understand, but felt. Father. Ethan froze. The soldiers around them watched in silence. The cold wind moved gently across the land, but for Ethan, everything felt warm. He looked down at her small hand holding his and gave a quiet nod. Yeah, he said softly. I'm here. Above them, the stars shined quietly. And for the first time since she fell from the sky, the alien child was no longer alone.